Hey, what's going on? It's LPTV and it don't stop, man. Hey, it's new month. Hey, boy. Get your popcorn and get your chips ready because I'm telling you, we logged in and we tuning in to Hip Hop Uncensored with Judge Joe Brown. And this is not for children, okay? So stay tuned for more LPTV and Hip Hop Uncensored and Judge Joe Brown. I'm going to tell you, this is not for children, okay? Again, this is not for children. Let's check it out.
What's your thoughts on that? That's it's a lot, you know, because it seems like that's a tactic they use a lot, whether it's true or not, particularly black men in power. Kind of the same thing with Cosby a little bit. I would like to get your thoughts on that.
Bill Cosby, I said from day one, constitutionally, they don't have a case on him, and any conviction they secure will be inappropriate and reversed. And that happened. You had a chicken shit motherfucker who was the trial judge, whose bitch wife was withholding the pussy if he didn't go along with what she wanted because she was a feminist. And what wound up happening is he let a lot of shit go wrong in his courtroom, which was a disgrace professionally. And you see, the district attorney who was in power at the time says, we have no intent of prosecuting Mr. Cosby.
Right.
None at all. And we find that the complainant is not credible and the accusations are unsustainable. Mm-hmm. The civil judge who had a case said, okay, since there's no possibility of prosecution, you are now compelled to make these depositions. You know, ordinarily when there's a pending criminal case, Fifth Amendment says you have a right to remain silent. You cannot be compelled to be a witness against you yourself. Right. Since there was no prosecution, he can be compelled in a civil case to provide evidence against himself if necessary. Well, the newly elected DA, some asshole, stupid motherfucking asshole, who broke his oath to uphold the Constitution and said, I'm not bound by that, I'm going to get him. So they used the deposition when he admitted to certain facts, but not the intent. In other words, yeah, I gave a heifer some drugs. She was trying to get high and get some BBD or BBC.
Right.
And she got what she wanted. But that's not, I forced it on her. She was knowing about it. He used that as part of his case in chief. And the asshole who was the trial judge delayed for 6 months what he was supposed to be turning out in no more than 60 days so Cosby could spend more time in there. I talked to Dr. Cosby. And he said, they told him on the parole board, sent the word down, just go ahead and admit your guilt and we'll let you out in a week. He said, hell no, I didn't do shit. The alpha wanted her ass up in there to jumpstart a non-existent career. She wanted some BBC, sex, drugs, rock and roll, sex, drugs, movies, sex, drugs, basketball, baseball, football, sex, drugs, golf, sex, drugs, TV, and that's what she got. Now, that happens. I know about that. A whole lot of chicks tried to use the casting couch to jumpstart an unpromising career. Some of those folk that were on that, what was it? The women's magazine that had a whole bunch of the women that claimed Cosby victimized them on the cover. Well, back in the 70s, I remember that I went to some of the Hollywood parties where they wanted some militants to come in to add flavor. And we'd come there, and they'd have all of the paraphernalia and the whiskey, the wine, the beer, and the VIPs. And you'd have a chick walk in there, take off her trench coat. She's total see-through, no bra, no pockets. 15 minutes later, she's topless. 30 minutes later, she's bottomless. Hour later, no panties. She got a belt on. That's all she's wearing. And over the next couple of hours, you run into her, you know, like, come on, hurry up, man. Hurry up with the bathroom. Do what you gonna do. And then she run out naked, wiping her mouth where she's gone down on somebody and didn't completely swallow. And then you run into her laying up on your coat on the bed in the bedroom where everybody had their coats parked, screwing somebody. And then 2 days later on Sunday, you see her at another party and she's sitting up there doing the same thing. And now she's complaining about she got used and abused. No, fool, it's called regret. You just effed up. You tried to jumpstart a career. It was no more promising than how you screwed. So it is what you is. It is what it is. And you had Gloria Allred and her daughter trying to convince you after your failed career that it wasn't your fault. It was these evil men. Okay, well, he got acquitted. All right, there's some other stuff that goes on that you're seeing right now where we want to deal with mob justice. And that comes from inquiring minds want to know. Well, goddamn the inquiring minds. What did they say in Star Wars? Luke, patience is a great virtue. You know, be patient.
Right.
What's the matter with you? Ain't you got a life? You ain't getting laid, man. You ain't had no nookie. You know, get yourself some. Find out what that's about. You get laid if you're a woman. Just get you some dick. God damn it. Then you might not be so worried about what some little soap opera bullshit is going on in the real world. Be patient. Let it develop. So we like to try cases in the media, which I don't approve of, because I know that over the half century I did this, 98 times out of 100, the media didn't know half as shit what they were talking about. And I used to have to work on not laughing out loud when I'm looking in my courtroom and all the media's out there poised with their pens to write down this horrible thing when the jury comes back with a question. I know what the question is because I'm looking at it. So I go through the formalities of asking each jury, is this their question, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, the court will now publish the question from the jury. Your Honor, if we feel that the victim deserved killing, do we have to convict the defendant? And the press goes, you know, doesn't make much of a story. Yeah, the fool that got blown away was an asshole. You know, technically it's against the law, but 12 folk up there don't like it. And there is this disconnect from reality. See, court TV drove soap operas out of business, but now court TV is switched over into being soap opera, and a lot of it's bullshit because they want pretty, and they want somebody youthful who's been out of law school not even 10 years. They don't even know how to wipe their ass without getting shit on their fingers, and they don't have bills. They're not learned and experienced in the practice of law, nor wise in the ways of the world, and they have to take breaks so that a staff can advise them on what to do. And they like that, but we drove this bullshit soap opera thing out of business, which is good. And America before that used to have as its main entertainment what happened in its courtrooms. For several hundred years, the world said America doesn't go to the opera, the ballet, the play, or the concert. It goes to watch what goes on in its courtrooms, where there's high drama, oratory, suspense, and it was entertaining. And we learned about our system. Stuff happens now. Well, that's because you went to law school. Man, I didn't learn that in law school. I learned that shit in the 5th grade, man. What's wrong with you, retarded son of a bitch? What happened to you?
A criminal case being...
I don't know. I haven't been paying that much attention to it. You know why?
Tell us, please.
Business. I did this for 50 years, every goddamn day, and I'm tired of that shit. Let somebody else do that fucking work. When it's over, I'll take a look at it and assess it if it's meritorious and it made or did not make some law. Now,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's it.
I was you was telling a story one time, maybe from 97, 98, where you were in a maybe like a party, and a lady told you that a guy pretty much said that she would pay her $2,000 to say that.
The show that started in September of 1998 had been going for just a month and a half. This was November, late October, 1998. I was a bachelor, man. I was throwing down all these fine ladies in the soaps and movies and television, man. I'm dancing with these fine starlets, man. They was looking good, yeah. So I like to dance, still do occasionally. And I wound up hooking up with this sister. We were sitting at a table. She got up, excused herself to the ladies' room, took a little bit of time to come back. When she got back, she said, you know that tall dude over there in the gray suit? I said, yeah. Said he's the CEO of the company that, you know, is doing this show I had. Said he walked up to me and offered me $2,000 in cash if I'd signed this bullshit note that you were trying to cop fields on me. What? So she and I went around and got written statements from most of the women I could remember I danced with that this dude had done the same thing. So we laid a trap for them. I hired this beautiful sister from out of Mississippi who had become a Miss Washington, D.C. Damn, she was fine too, man. That was one fine lady. Yes, indeed. Oh, yes. Anyway, we set a trap. And she started feeding this false information to the wife of this person that was CEO of the company I was working for. And we started filing sworn affidavits of what we had done with human resources, and it was all in a lockbox that I had the only key to. So they hauled me in to accuse me of trying to proposition this fictitious woman that we had created. And they had a letter supposedly signed by this fictitious woman that I was doing something inappropriate. So I said, fuck you. I quit, son of a bitches. You full of shit. Meanwhile, before I physically kick your asses and you don't dare complain about it, so I will have a free opportunity to vent my frustration and aggression by putting my foot up your asses. No, considering your persuasions, you might like this. I said, let's bring Department of Human Services over here for the studio, see what they've got. So when they brought it out, well, in 6 weeks, I was the only one left standing. So, and then the show went on for 14 more than 15 years, or about 14, probably 13 and a half if you're technical. But anyway, and I quit because the son of a bitches, CBS, wanted me to take an IOU for tens of millions of dollars that they'd owed me, that they'd stolen. I had a lawyer. He never lost a case against him. We were doing fine. Something happened. He disappeared. Law firm wound up sending the checks back, and he disappeared. Like he died. Family was asking me had I heard from him or seen him.
Wow.
So shit happens. It gets interesting. Hollywood is vicious, it's low down, it's petty, and it's populated by a bunch of folk who spent their entire adult lives in the make-believe. They have not dealt with the real world. They sit on their little soft asses on leather chairs and leather sofas in the bar areas of five-star hotels, and they drink Chablis with their fingers stuck out. Have you heard about this little incident going on? Oh my God, Earl, it's awful. I heard it's really bad. Murray, what do you think? Oh, I don't know. Schwartz, what do you think about this? Blah, 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 blah. And see, they're totally disconnected from the real world. And a lot of these folk you see in the movies, yeah, man, we're going to have to make a move. We got to deal with this issue, man. And when you run into them in reality, oh my God, it was so fascinating.